Hello everyone, today's video is going to be one of my WTF or these brands doing, where I go over some of the new makeup releases or newer makeup releases, and I just talk about them, try and convince you not to buy them. This is a channel where we are conscious consumers and we don't just blindly buy everything that is coming out onto the market. A lot of these releases are newer, like I was waiting for certain palettes to get fully released, like the color stories and stuff to get fully released before making this video. And then some of these are older. So we do have quite a few Christmas still related palettes. Brands come out with stuff literally all the time. So even though the last WTF or these brands doing video was like Christmas related and Christmas focused, I put out that video before a lot of these palettes were even released or talked about. So I do have quite a few little Christmas releases. It also is about like almost halfway through January. These kind of go back a little bit of ways. A lot of these I forgot was even a thing. Some of these I didn't even realize were a thing. So what I kind of do is I kind of just go on Makeup on Your Radar's Instagram, scroll a little bit. They do a lot more than just like indie brand content and stuff like that. But I am primarily focusing on indie brand content because I feel like because these are small brands, people justify that as a reason to purchase them, which is not the reason to purchase things. But anyway, I try and focus more on these indie brands because that is kind of the niche of YouTube that I kind of watch and I pay more attention to. And I also do have a playlist of all these where I sometimes a little bit sassy. A lot of you guys really enjoy these videos. These videos do very well on my channel in comparison to a lot of my other content. So I highly appreciate everyone that is here. Leave and let me know your thoughts on any of these palettes. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree on any of this because makeup is subjective. Everyone has different personal preferences, but at the end of the day, you clicked on my video to hear my personal preferences. So that is what this video is for. And if this helps you not buy things, then awesome. That is amazing. I do have a friend here, Michelle. I'll leave her channel link down below. We were talking about some new makeup releases, and she's like, I feel like this year is going to be the year for pink eyeshadow. And I know today doesn't really show it, but I am a lover, a hardcore pink eyeshadow wearer. I wear it very often. And so she was just saying like, pink is going to be for this year. Like, this is the year of pink eyeshadow. First things first, we'll go out with a pink bang, okay? The Pinky Promise palette from Bella Butar in collaboration with Deandra on Instagram. She has had a purple palette called the Ultraviolet with Bella Butar in the past, a year or two ago. I can't recall. But now she's coming out with a pink palette. And I have thoughts. Of course I do. I have no interest in this pink palette. First off, it's a monochromatic palette. I'm thinking of all these different types of palettes that came out Valentine's Day of last year. A pink palette, but there is enough color variety to really ground it. Deandra has an idea in her brain. Like, I understand what the purpose of this palette is. I do. But if literally any other brand, and even Bella Butar, if they sent out this palette and, you know, did not have Deandra's name on it, I feel like people would give it a lot of shit. People would really attack this palette for being a 15-pan monochromatic palette. God forbid ColourPop did 9-pan monochromatic palettes and people still complained about those. Imagine almost doubling the amount of shadows. Very, very monochromatic. And, you know, Deandra probably has made Bella Butar a lot of money over the years. They have done amazingly well with Ultraviolet, and this is probably going to hopefully be another home run to them. And I don't think it's all that spectacular. I really don't. And as someone who loves and wears pink eyeshadow all the time, like this, in theory, would have my name written all over it. Not interested in the slightest. Another thing I am not interested in the slightest is the new Nomad palette. I was specifically waiting for this Bella Beauté Bar Pinky Promise and the Nomad Paris palette. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name. It's the Paris palette. First off, packaging, I hate it. Like, we'll just get it out of the way. I hate it. I think it's ugly. And again, my personal preferences, my personal tastes are not going to be your taste. Like, I know certain people that really like this packaging. I think it is ugly, and I didn't like the Christmas packaging either. But you know, to each their own. We're following suit with this kind of love and death situation again. They did this with that one palette that opened up like, you know, like this, where they had a pink side and then they had like this dark smoky, like cool tone side. This here is a more, I guess, wearable version. Like, I feel like you could pair both sides of this at the same time. This palette's color story doesn't look very appealing. Nomad does this thing with every new palette release where they kind of tease different colors. And let me tell you, all the colors that they teased, I was not impressed with. And I was like, why are people getting so excited for this? And it's perfectly fine for me to not get excited over a Nomad palette or any sort of release at all. But like, I feel like the color story is just a little disjumbled. I like it overall. I like the concept overall better than the one they had for Valentine's Day a year or two ago that is now discontinued. But packaging, not very good. Eyeshadow color story in the inside. I mean, if I had it in my collection, I am sure I could make beautiful looks. But this is a palette I'm not excited for. This is a palette that I would not be purchasing on my own. Okay, we're on to Wicked Widow. It's been a hot minute since I've seen anything from Wicked Widow. Honestly, I forgot they existed for a minute. But this is the Rocky Horror Show palette. Recently, they have been doing a lot of IP collabs. They've been doing a lot of branded sort of content. Nothing wrong with it, but I'm like, can you come up with anything creative? Like, that's kind of my mindset. Color story looks unique and fun. I like this color story where you kind of have a half pink purple sort of vibe. The other half is like green and blue. I like this color story much more than the Nomad color story. I've never tried Wicked Widow before, so I don't know formula-wise how they are. I've heard very good things about their formula. To me, it's just a yellow flag because they keep doing IP collabs. So I have a feeling that the reason why they keep doing IP collabs is because that is the reason why they sell their products. Because people like the IP. I'm like, when was the last time we came up with something original? I really liked a lot of their original ideas before they started doing all this IP stuff. This is a pretty palette when I look on the inside. Not a fan of the outside packaging, but I'm not one for Rocky Horror Show. But the color story, I really like the color story much more than the Nomad palette. I just think it's a yellow flag that we keep seeing IP collabs, specifically from Wicked Widow. Next palette, I think everyone was like, what the F are we doing? This is the Odin's Eye, like Christmas Day, Christmas Eve palettes. But instead of the normal format that they usually do, they thought it would be a good idea to do like a singles version. First off, I think singles as a whole, they go on and off the spectrum of popularity, I really do believe. Right now is not popularity for single eyeshadows, in my opinion. As I have seen out on the internet, I deem that right now is not a very good time to come out with these palettes. Singles tend to be much more expensive than just having them in a pre-made palette. They have sold these palettes before. For multiple years, they brought them back. They did not bring them back this year, but they're going to charge you extra for you to have them in single format. I think this entire idea was them just trying and begging people for life. I really think they're struggling. I really am not excited about anything that Odin's Eye does. This was not a very good idea. I did not hear very good things at all. And honestly, with how popular these Christmas palettes are, They were extremely popular a few years ago. I didn't hear a single thing about these other than people complaining about them re-releasing a color story, but the palette is so expensive because it is singles instead of a pre-made palette. And, you know, that's not a good sign. I am sadly predicting Odin's Eye is not going to make it by the end of the year. That's just my prediction. This is the only non-eyeshadow related thing. So there is a new mascara from What's Up Beauty. They came out with a brown and a burgundy of the mascara that they already have, the Watch Me mascara. I recently did a What's Up Beauty order, so like I have What's Up Beauty products right here in front of me. I do have the burgundy eyeliner. I literally just opened it. It came today. I filmed a little short. We'll see how good my unboxing short / reel is. But I'm not spending 20 bucks on a mascara. I really wanted to try this mascara, but I wasn't paying 20 bucks for it. I'm sorry, not spending 20 bucks for it. I love What's Up Beauty. I love that they are doing things that are non-eyeshadow. I have a primer. I have a sure an eyeshadow single, but I have a blush. I have an eyeliner. I have like a lip balmy product. I have a face primer. I have nail polishes behind me. Their nail polishes are amazing. I have one eyeshadow palette from them, also amazing. And I'm expecting to fully love these products that are sitting right next to me. I'm sure I would like the What's Up Beauty Watch Me mascara, but I personally am not spending 20 bucks on a mascara. I love that they are expanding this line. Brown, burgundy, colorful mascara are getting a little bit more popular. So I can't wait to see what more What's Up Beauty does. I love this idea, I do. I am just not in the financial position to spend 20 bucks on a mascara. This one I think was a joke. And so many people like this palette, and to each their own. Gourman Girls, Mostly Merry. I told you a lot of these palettes are a little old, old news. This came out for Christmas. I have not seen a single thing about this palette since Christmas. Red flag number 1, the top, the lid, or the mirror, I don't know. The top of the palette and the palette, part of the palette with all the shadows, they're two separate pieces. They magnetize together. Pet peeve. I will leave my packaging pet peeves video down below. It's a little bit older. Still applies. Everything still applies there. First off, pet peeve number 1, you have two disconnecting pieces. I don't like it. Pet peeve number 2, we have an odd freaking shape. This is how I store my eyeshadow palettes. How am I storing this? Snow globe. And sure, the front of the packaging is pretty, but we are not focusing on packaging because packaging is not the reason why we should be buying a palette. And on the inside, it's like neutrals with a pop of blue again. Like that's the vibe I'm getting. I did not like it. I did not. So we got two big palette packaging pet peeves and a very boring basic color story. And I was not a fan. Next thing is Mandy Makeup. I have never tried anything from Mandy Makeup. This palette here is called Cottage Breakfast. And if you are a neutral person, like this screams fall. And honestly, I wonder if this was a fall release. Am I this late? Was this a fall release? I feel very bad if it was that late ago. Because this would have been like perfect, like Thanksgiving. But Cottage Breakfast, I think overall it's really cute. I like the color story. You have a pop of green, you have a pop of teal, you have a pop of yellow, you have some oranges, you got some fun little shimmers here and there. I wish there was like maybe an extra shimmer in there, especially since only the one looks like it would be like a good inner corner all over lid shade for me. Overall, I really like the color story of this palette. I like the concept. I like the idea. I think it's really fun. I never saw a brand do this concept before. I really do enjoy. Color story is pretty. It's just I'm not spending $70 on this when I could spend the same $70 on a Natasha Nona palette. And that's kind of where I'm at with some of these indie brands. It's like a little much for what it is. The same number of shadows as a Natasha Nona palette, but you got cardboard packaging. And I've never tried Mandy Makeup eyeshadow. So I personally would be a little bit weary of trying a brand I have never tried before. Next is Bella Beauté Bar. Bella Beauté Bar is in here twice, which means Bella Beauté Bar puts out way too much product. And I also need to do these videos a little bit more often. Crystallized palette. This is a palette on the wish list. I love pinks. I love desaturated pastels. Anything like light eyeshadow, I love. This palette has my name written all over it. And at first I was going to shit it because Bella Beauté Bar puts out a lot of palettes. But my friend Alyssa here on YouTube/Instagram, I'll leave her Instagram and YouTube down below, because she got this palette, I believe, for Christmas, and every single look she has done with it, I have loved it so much. So much so that this palette is going to be like a definite birthday purchase for me soon. And I'm really excited for it. I really am. I love the packaging. Packaging's really pretty. Packaging doesn't necessarily correlate with what's on the inside, but I can get over that because the color story on the inside is really pretty, and I know I love it. And I know that this has my makeup style written all over it, so I am very excited for the Bella Beauté Bar Crystallized palette. And damn well, if my code is still active, I will be using my code to get 10% off. I do have a code with Bella Beauté Bar if it's still active, and I do have a code with Nomad. Maybe it's still active. I'm not so sure. This one I was not a fan of whatsoever. This is the Blend Bunny Haunt Me palette. And packaging, the outside packaging, I think is really pretty. The inside color story totally matches the packaging on the outside. It matches the theming. It is just not a palette for me. I am not one for these types of colors. They also had like eyeliners. They had like lip product related things. There was definitely a theme. I think this came out too late in the year. This would have been perfect sometime in the beginning of October, maybe the end of September, but wasn't this a holiday release? Like, didn't this release in December? I personally think it was a little too late, and overall, I personally am not a fan of the inside color story, just based off color preferences, but I think the packaging is really pretty. Then we have another Christmas palette. We have a couple more. So this is a Glaminatrix Merry Chrissy palette. This palette here is like classic Christmas. You got your warms, you have some blues for the winter vibes. Although Glaminatrix is an Australian brand, so it's like summertime for them. I don't know if this is necessarily summertime Christmas, but I feel like this is very traditional Christmas. Overall, like the color story, it's just, I've never tried Glaminatrix as a brand. This is not a palette that excites me enough for me to go out and purchase it. Inside color story, I do really like, except a lot of these blues and the greens, they look to be a little too dark. So for me, I don't think I'd be able to make a solely blue look or solely green look just because of the colors that are in there. And like if I wanted to blend out this blue, I don't have a light enough blue to blend it out, but I also would not have a light enough neutral to blend it out. So I don't think the color story as a whole is what would fit my personal needs and preferences. This one I didn't even know was a thing. I was just going through the brands that I follow on Instagram, and I just look at every single brand that's on there, and I just scroll to see what's new. Apparently DD Signature came out with this Festive Elegance. I think this is very muted, and nothing will top that one Christmas palette they came out with, and I still want that. It's still on my wish list. I would love to have that palette one day. But this palette to me is not very exciting. It's very bland, and a lot of the stuff that DD Signature or Day Day Signature has came out with recently or this past year hasn't really excited me. But that's the thing. Makeup, everyone has different preferences and things. This is not a color story that excites me, and it's not something that I'm interested in. And honestly, I have not heard like much talk about DD Signature palettes like all year. So I don't know what's going on with them. This is for you, Michelle. This is the last pink palette in at least today's video. I don't know what's going on with Unearthly. I don't understand what's going on. They have released quite a bit of stuff recently, and I was going through their Instagram. I'm like, damn, I have not heard a single person talk about any of these. But this is a Made a Monster palette. This palette, I feel, has a lot more range in shades than the Bella Beauté Bar palette. It does rain into a little bit of an orange vibe with that one shade. Has some like purpley leaning shimmers. So it has more contrast in the palette. It has more interest in the palette, in my opinion. A little too light, maybe. I didn't know this palette was a thing. I had not heard a single person talk about this. I have not been up to speed on anything Unearthly has done recently, but I really haven't been hearing anything about Unearthly, honestly. What are they doing? This is another pink palette that's on the market. As a pink lover, I am not interested in it. There's nothing in the palette that's exciting me. The shade, the second shade in the second row, it's called I'm Fine. That's really the only shade that I'm like, I really want to know what that looks like, because it looks so sparkly and pretty and pink and lovely. But other than that, this entire palette, I have no need or want for this palette at all. Last palette in today's video is a Cosmic Brushes palette. Again, this is a palette that came out. I have not heard a single person talk about this. And Cosmic Brushes, they are very, very popular. Like, I have several palettes of theirs. I really enjoy their formula. It's just that this palette, I have not heard a single thing talked about. And again, I don't know if this is an older release or was this a holiday release? Because I feel like this year, Halloween and Christmas kind of morphed together. Is that just me? I feel like that's an overall theme. But this is the Death Tarot card palette. Outside packaging, adore. I love the outside packaging. The inside, I feel like recently they've had a lot of very similar color stories at first glance. Overall, this palette to me is a little too dark for my personal preferences. I do like the varying shades. So we have some purples, we have some reds, we have some greens, we have that bright blue. Although I am sure in person it is not that bright and spectacular, because they did that with a different palette. Where they had, like, in the promo photos, like, they had this one shade that was like, wowza. And then, like, all the swatches and all the looks and stuff I saw online, like, it wasn't all that great. This palette has a lot of different avenues that you can go down to create looks. The packaging, outside packaging, 10 out of 10. It's just overall is very dark, in my opinion. And at first glance, it looks like all the other palettes from Cosmic Brushes. So I'm honestly not all that impressed with it as a whole. Overall, the only palette that is really catching my attention is I would like to try the What's Up Beauty mascara formula, but I'm not spending 20 bucks on mascara. And the only other one that has really gotten me excited is that Bella Beauté Bar Crystallized palette. Everything else has been like so-so, or I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. I would love to know your personal thoughts and feelings of any of these palettes linked down below. Should I branch out into drugstore and mainstream sort of products in these videos, or would you guys rather have me just focus more on indie branded products? I love and appreciate all the love and all the engagement that I get on these videos. They are quite popular on this platform, but especially on my channel. This is some of my most viewed videos on average on my channel, so I really do appreciate everyone who sticks around, hears my thoughts. We don't have to agree on everything. Actually, it is preferred that we disagree on things from every once in a while, because if every makeup release was an all-time hit, then this world would be pretty boring. If you guys enjoy these new makeup release videos, I do have an entire playlist linked down below. And if you guys enjoy eyeshadow palette content, makeup commentary sort of things, I also project pan using what you have in your collection. I highly recommend you subscribe to this channel. I do 2 to 3 videos a week, so I am posting very frequently. If you enjoy this video, then make sure you like it and hype the video so more people can find this video and my channel. I would appreciate it a lot. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings on any new makeup releases. And do you think we're going to get more pink eyeshadow? Do you think Michelle is correct in her thoughts that pink eyeshadow will dominate this year? I love and appreciate you all so much, and I shall see you guys next time.